Hey there YouTube, it's Geoffrey again. Today we're doing another creepypasta reading. This time we're doing a gaming creepypasta called Super Mario World, Never Stop Running. Now I'm going to read this word for word and the epilogue in a summary style, so let's start. Dear Mom, I know it's not really the norm for people to send handwritten letters anymore since we have email, meeting face to face, and the all-powerful cell phone. But I wanted to switch things up. Plus, I had a few extra postage stamps, and I had figured you'd be expecting a letter from me sooner or later. So I have a confession to make. I haven't been completely honest with you over these last few months. College has been great, but some very serious things have happened that have forced me to make some very grave choices. Going back to the beginning, I was pretty mad at Kyle when he wouldn't let me take any of our game systems to college. It's not like we own every video game of Nintendo that they ever made, sans Virtual Boy, of course. I need my eyes to study. If I wanted to blame him, I could, but I don't. Video games have a huge part of our childhoods that I'm surprised he didn't get more violent when I tried to sneak out the Super Nintendo out with me. In hindsight, that was a stupid decision anyways. I don't have a TV to play, nor do I have the money to buy more games for it. What am I gonna do, accept a copy of a game from a random stranger on the street for free? No way. I'm way too familiar with the stories that are popular flowing out there. P.S. Never look up these stories unless you want to be truly scared and disturbed. So being the typical money-deprived student with no television, I went outside and downloaded SNES. If you're unfamiliar with SNES, it's an emulator that allows you to play video games on your computer downloaded from the internet. And so you're playing on the console. Pretty convenient for me. Anyways, the game I love more than any other, I'm sure you're well aware of, was Super Mario World. The reason I tried sneaking the SNES out was Super Mario World. Being unfamiliar with ROMs, I asked one of my roommates experienced with emulators where I could find a decent ROM of Mario World, and he guided me to ROM Hustler. When I finally downloaded, unzipped, and copied the ROM to a permanent folder, I was surprised to discover the ROM came with a bunch of hacks a la carte. I was under the impression that you had to search these hacks out. For a while, I tested out the first world of each hack, trying to find out which ones were worth keeping and which I could just throw away. Some hacks only changed to first world and the rest of the game didn't exist or was just a carbon copy of the original. This went on normally for about a month, but then I found myself at one hack called Run. Creeped out, I deleted it immediately. I had recently heard about the story about Sonic.exe and I couldn't get that Kefka laugh out of my head. I was not taking any chances. Like I said before, I forget I ever mentioned these stories. Needing to clear my head, I left for the recording complex for an hour or two. When I came back, I went to the folder of hacks only to discover that Run came back and was restored. Confused, I went to check the recycle bin only to find that Run was still there. It somehow had been copied back to the original folder. Deciding that I might as well saw what was inside, it was only the first level, I promised myself. I started up the emulator and loaded the hack. Shockingly, the first world was normal, as in the hack creator didn't change anything. Okay, I thought to myself, this might be a pretty good game. Level after level I traversed turned out to be the same as the original game. Being the completionist as I am, I had to get every exit out in the game. Oddly, I was able to get to Soda Lake before the last stage in Special World, something I was never able to do before. Before heading into the final stage, I was prepared to be similar to the original like the rest of the game. Wishful thinking on my part. As I started the level, Mario Start popped into the black screen. But I noticed was the lack of music. The game was silent, except for the jumping sound effects, and the only thing to appear on the screen was Mario. But besides Mario was a message block. No bushes, clouds, or coins. Not even a timer. The game wouldn't let me progress to the right, so I had to hit the block. And what I saw sent chills down my spine as I read it. If you stop, you die. Soon, and finally the game wouldn't let me continue. But as soon as the block was off the screen, the level turned into a scroller, where you either move right, avoiding everything in your path, or you get crushed between the left side of it and whatever's preventing you from progressing. annoyed since those levels are my least favorite, even the underwater scrollers. I resolved to keep going until I finished the level, and by extension the game. For about 5 minutes or so, nothing appeared in front of me. I was just running on flat ground. I figured it was just a push right to the win level, but after 10 minutes I got annoyed. Did this level ever end? It was the exact same moment that scroll speed got faster. It took me surprised by 10 minutes of absolute zilch happening. The game got very quicker and quicker, to the point that I was not even running anymore. I was just barely ahead of the screen. Finally, the end gate appeared, and after I broke the gate, 2 things ran in my mind. Succession. But then, all I noticed that Mario was still running at the speed I had him at, and it wouldn't stop scrolling. Well, I just remembered something horrifying at the end of every level. Mario would stop and flash a peace sign before going to the next level, praying to God that Mario wouldn't stop as he normally does. My fears were confirmed. As he stopped, a wall appeared right in front of him, crushing him. And now, there was something comical and yet so disturbing about this. Seeing Mario try to walk through the wall if it was nothing. That I saw was unprepared for the sound of Mario's bones being ground between the walls. This was not a normal Mario death where he makes a funny face and falls off the screen. It's so dark and gruesome and it so unnerved me that my hands started shaking. The time up screen appeared and instead it said you stop running. I closed out the game wondering what the hell just happened. Besides, music typically calms me down. I opened iTunes hoping that music helps me relax. But all the files said you stop running. And double-clicking any of these songs made the same crunching noise that I heard upon Mario's death in the game. In fact, every single file had been renamed to You Stop Running, and none of them worked as they should. My emotions went from fear to anger as I assumed it planted a virus on my computer. If it was just a virus, it'd be the end of it. So I know the only reason I didn't tell you about the corruption in my hard drive was I didn't want you to worry about a new computer, how it's going to cost. 1 week passed without incident and my mind eventually moved on from the corrupt attack. Inevitably, my mind went back to it soon. One Saturday night, I was sitting on my desk doing homework and looking at my PC suspiciously. I had antivirus software, why didn't it work? Suddenly, sun hit the window hard as a car drove by. Assuming it was just a rock thrown by the tire of the car, I checked and see what happened. The window was cracked in such a way that it spelled out run, but not in English, it was Cyrillic, which confused me in my mind and I thought it was a personal message, since I've been studying Russian for the last year. Usually I don't believe in coincidences, but I tried to write it off as one. I had to get through this and get this out of my head. A floor above me lives one of my housemates who owns a dog, a beautiful 4-month-old Australian Shepherd puppy. Figuring she was asleep, I looked in the room, and sure enough, she was. Flipping on the light and opening the doors to the kennel, she got up reluctantly and walked over to me, still eager to be a pet at 5:30 in the morning and wiggling her butt, since Australian Shepherd dogs don't have tails. I pet her, threw a tennis ball to her, fed her, and gave her water. Then I started feeling tired, putting her back in her cage and flipping off the lights. No sooner did I shut the door and started down the stairs, when I heard an odd sound from the room. I hesitated, not sure what it was, but I had to go back up there. When I turned on the lights, the dog was on its side, eyes wide open. She wasn't moving. I freaked out with tears flooding down my face as I tried in vain to find a pulse. I heard that you can do CPR on a pet as much as the way you can do on a human. So I tried, but I tried to save the dog, but it was useless. When I lay her on her back of her side, I saw that same pattern from the window as coloration in her fur, something that 100% was not there before. Angrily, I kicked the sofa as hard as I could, and I had to grit my teeth to keep myself from screaming. Wake up 32 other guys at 5:30 in the morning would not let me have gone over well, and there was nothing to do for the dog. In a state of hysteria, I went back to my room, put my head on my desk, and cried for a good hour or two. After that, I went up to the second room, which was necessary. I can only assume the owner was a vet student. Couldn't find the cause of death since I killed her. I tried my hardest not to lose it every time he talked to me. I even threw up a couple times. I couldn't eat half of the time, and when I did, most of the time it wouldn't stay down. These weren't things that something that it could cure. These images in real life, real death, and burned in my mind, and I just wanted them out. So yeah, now you know why I lost 12 pounds this month. My health was deteriorating quickly, and then you can imagine it. I actually got worse, starting imagining what I could have done to the dog happening to a person. It didn't matter if it was a complete stranger or my best friend. The thought of being death of anyone terrified me immensely. It was only a matter of time. I wouldn't let it happen. Then all of a sudden flashed. The word run was not haunting me because I failed on the level of the hack. It was haunting me because I hurt people, trying to desperately escape from that fact, but I never could. Or could I? Anyway, if this letter gets to you before, then I'll promise to make sure you get an open casket. I won't swallow a gun or anything like that. It'll just be the pills that I prescribed for that infection in my foot. If this letter gets to you afterwards, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't tell you anything, sir. I'm sorry that my death seemed senseless at the time. The last thing I want you to know is I committed suicide for selfish reasons. Maybe I did. Maybe I did for someone else's sake or safety, or just to ease the guilt I might feel if I did hurt someone close to me. Either way, perhaps the fact that I tried to be the noble in my death could ease the pain. If you ever so slightly, I can only help. Bro, you can face a lot of adversity in your lifetime. Don't run from it. Stand up from it, face it, power through it. You will become a better man. I'm sorry that I didn't get to spend more time with you, but you two gave me the best 20 years of my life. Love you always, son, brother, Jesse. After 3 days of Kyle and his mother getting the letter, they held the funeral. It wasn't supposed to be much of anything special, but many people showed up that Jesse would have believed. Eventually, a month or two later, when it was summertime, Jesse's mom had to go to the college to pick up Jesse's belongings. Kyle wanted to come along, but he couldn't because of school. After heading out of the college, it turned just as Jesse and Kyle's mom was closing the trunk to the car, past her was a house person opening the door and passed in front of the car, walking a small Australian Shepherd puppy. The mother went through the rest of the day on autopilot, confused why the dog was going on. The letter said the dog had died. It was unnerved her so much that she couldn't even pick up any of the things. Anyways, all that way for closure for her. When Kyle got home from school, she asked him if he had found his hack. He said he did, but the run file was not there. So this is where the story ends. She couldn't find out anything else. I'm not really sure what happened to Jesse over those last few months of his life. Maybe it's for the best. All I could say is that she'd be more proud of her son than she is right now. Well, that was refreshing. Now, let's talk about the good aspects. There were two good things that I want to say differently that would change the story much. Like, first thing that should change was Mario being crushed in the hack. And the thing that was confusing, why was the dog alive at the end? Because, the ceramic cracks in the window and the coloration in the fur. And I like how this had some elements from Sonic.exe, like the drawing music or the run, for example, the name. Now, I might do the sequel called A Terrible Fate, I don't know, but yeah. What creepypasta you want me to do next? And yeah, feel free to let me know. This is Geoffrey Sambursky, and I am out.